How's it going, everybody? This is Doom Kid. Today I'm here to talk about the beta versions of Doom 2. Doom 2 was originally released September 30th, 1994. It came with version 1.666 of the Doom engine. However, Doom 2 was in development since early 1994, and accordingly, the earlier builds of the Doom engine, versions 1.3, 0.4, 0.5, and 0.6, all have partial Doom 2 support. And that support becomes more complete with each revision, obviously. These early versions of the Doom engine give us a look at the behavior of the Doom 2 enemies and the super shotgun, but it doesn't give us a look at the early versions of the maps, unfortunately. However, in 2015, John Romero generously uploaded a huge dump of Doom and Doom 2 development assets. It included early versions of the Doom 2 maps dated July 29th, 1994, almost exactly 2 months before Doom 2's actual release. It also included some frames of the early Super Shotgun and a metric ton of pre-release development Doom 1 stuff. What I'm going to do here is show you the various different pre-release executables with partial Doom 2 support. Then I'm going to play through the early Doom 2 maps using the 1.6 EXE, since that EXE and the early maps are dated within 3 days of one another, in late July and very early August. This will be a very accurate recreation of what Doom 2 was like 2 months before its release. I'll also include the early SSG sprites for the sake of completeness, and those were ripped by Sponge and their missing frames were completed by RF, so I just want to give credit there where it's due. So first of all, let's take a look at the 1.3 executable. This is the earliest build with partial Doom 2 support. This build was never officially released by id, but it somehow made its way onto some BBS's, shareware disks, and shovelware disks and stuff, and I'm guessing that's through beta testers possibly releasing it. For some reason it's labeled 1.4 on the startup screen, which I'm guessing is a byproduct of it being an unauthorized release. It has some notable differences in enemy behavior from the final version of Doom 2. I made a basic test map to showcase the behavior of enemies that were introduced in Doom 2, and I'll be using this test map through all the different various revisions that we'll be going through here. So first we have version 1.3. There's no super shotgun object. Placing a super shotgun actually results in the engine crashing in this version. There's also no pain elemental. In the early versions of Doom, there's a random sound pitch, and here it's still there, and it's actually more intense than it was in 1.2. The Incubus uses former human sounds, he shoots barren fireballs, he's slightly slower and has no pre-attack sound. He doesn't seem to have a delay either, he just goes right into his attack, whereas the final version screams and then attacks. He takes longer to face the target, and he has a very incomplete death sequence. So you can see he's taking longer there to actually sync up with where the player's located. The Hell Knight is just a Baron with 50% health. He has no visual or audio changes. He's indistinguishable at a glance from the regular Baron. The Arachnotron behaves just like a small spider mastermind. He has no alert sound. And the game actually crashes because his death animation is looking for extra frames. The spider mastermind has more frames to his death, so when the Arachnotron dies, he's looking for more frames. In early development of Doom 2, the Arachnotron was just a shrunk spider mastermind, and they changed him up further and further throughout development. If you go in there and insert those frames, the game will not crash. And I'm guessing that it was originally had the same death animation as the Spider Mastermind, just shrunk down. That's probably why it crashes looking for those frames. Chain Gunners, Revenants, and Archviles are shotgunners that turn into non-animating chain gunners when attacking. The death animation stops halfway through. So now we have version 1.4 of the engine. There's still no super shotgun, but the pain elemental is there now, and he acts just like a cacodemon. And you can see he waves his little arms much faster than he does in the final version of the game. Chain Gunners, Revenants, and Archies are there, and they have a proper death animation now, but otherwise there's still the exact same behaviors in 1.3. Totally incomplete. In version 1.5, we can see the Hell Knight has his own skin now, but he still uses the Baron sound. So he's getting there, he's getting closer to completeness. The Mancubus uses the Baron's sight sound when attacking. He also faces the targets more quickly now, more like the final version of the game. He also uses a few more frames of his death animation, but they're still not quite complete yet. The Pain Elemental finally shoots Lost Souls. It still uses Cacodemon sound effects, and he doesn't emit Lost Souls when he's killed, but he's nearly final at this point. The Revenants use former human sounds. When they attack, they hop and shoot homing rockets that are slightly off-center. The regular rocket sprite is used, but damage seems to be the same as the final game. His punch attack uses the regular Doomguy punch sound rather than the more distinctive final version. His death animation is also really slow for some reason. During this point in development, the Revenant was probably using the less refined version of his sprite, so maybe his death animation was different in the original build or something. That might explain why it animates so slowly there. The Archvile uses the former human sounds, and he uses teleport sprites instead of the flame attack, which we all know. And he also walks slower, but he does resurrect the dead, so he's getting there. Other than moving slow and using those teleport frames, he's nearly complete. The Super Shotgun can now be used if you type IDKFA, but placing one still causes a crash since it doesn't know the object. It has the same number of frames as a single-barrel shotgun, just slowed down, but it obviously looks incorrect when using the final version of the sprite. IDFA is not in the game at this point, it's just IDKFA. 1.6 features more bug fixes, and it finally recognizes the Super Shotgun object. In terms of enemy behavior, it's basically the same as 1.5. This version has another interesting history to it. It was released by a guy named Eric Yik Leung, I believe that's how it's pronounced, who had a reputation as a loudmouth Doom pro at that time. He distributed it around various Usenet news groups, which was the birthplace of the Doom community back in 1993. There's evidence of him interacting with John Romero, talking crap on John Romero's deathmatch skills, which is crazy. He must have had some kind of relationship with John Romero to be able to release some unauthorized version of the Doom EXE. It was made public on August 3rd, which, as we said earlier, that's 3 days after the Doom 2 early version of the maps. So what I'm going to do is pair that EXE with the early maps that Romero released to the community in 2015, and we're going to get a very accurate recreation of what Doom was like in late July, early August. Unfortunately, the early versions of the Revenant sprite and Arachnotron sprite aren't present in the pack, and they probably don't exist at all anymore. We have a couple screenshots of them in action, so we know they existed, but it's basically just less refined versions of the final sprites anyway, so we're not missing out on too much. Alright, I've got all the resources compiled together. It looks like we're ready to jump in to the July 29 version of Doom 2. Still uses the episode select screen, but the other episodes just bring you to map 1 with the wrong music. And you can hear it's using the Doom 1 music as a placeholder. It actually shows E1, M1, even though this is a map 01 internally. And look at this, this is the early version of the entryway here. Has a wooden room, some little computer panels here. I like computer panels, but I still feel like this room is not, it's not as good of a start view as the triangular stairs that we see there. That view is such a, almost as iconic as the blue carpet and hangar, so someone knew it was a good idea to have that like that. You can see there the opposition is a lot tougher here. We have a Pinky. It's not usual to have a Pinky this early on, of course. They don't show up until halfway through map 2. So I think maybe the level order wasn't totally finalized at this point. A few maps are not where they are in the final version, and we've got these Pinkies so early on. It seems strange that they'd throw this much at you to begin with. So maybe they didn't know quite what difficulty they were looking for. This room looks different. Looks a little bit cooler in my opinion. I like those Those computer screens up the top there. Man, I'm being swarmed by these jerks. Go and get that secret rocket launcher. Make my way outside. Oh, I haven't pressed the switch yet. This switch that I'm about to press, you can actually press that from down there. I just didn't notice it earlier when I was running through, but you can definitely press that switch early and come through here without even going up there. So they fixed that in the end, of course. This area outdoors looks different. Kind of like the white rock look though. Finally have a shotgun. Demon there. Look at him stuck in that doorway. Man, leaving with very little resources. You can see the intermission screen there. It's just a dark version of the title picture. And I think that looks pretty cool, actually. But it's also a pretty clear sign that they never intended on including a map like they did in Doom 1 for each episode. And since the episode select screen here brings you to map 01 no matter which one you select, it looks like they decided to get rid of the episode format pretty early on in Doom 2's development. I also want to point out, look at this area here. You got these cool computer panels and stuff. There are some panels here in the final version, but those caution signs are really cool. The texturing seems a little bit better in this area. The alignment is off, as you can see there, but it's really nice. Oh, the computer panels on the ceiling don't really make much sense. And there's those bars. These bars are here in the 1.666 version of Doom 2, but they're removed in 1.9 for some reason, and I'm not really sure why. Chain gunners, they don't show up this early in the final version. I think they wait till map 3 to first show us chain gunners. Oh, cool. And there we go, the double barrel. And this is the early sprite that was released by Romero. The final 2 frames there are by RF, but this is more or less what it was going to look like originally. And changing it I think was a good decision because they look so similar to one another that you can barely tell them apart at a glance. Whereas the final version has that cool, like, wooden, almost western sort of look to it. I like that about it. Look at that Revenant running around. Not screaming like he usually does. Oh, look. Those are the rockets there. And they, despite using the normal rocket sprite, they do the same damage as the final version's Revenant Fireball. So they gave him a distinct fireball so you wouldn't be confused. Which I think, of course, was a good idea. Oh, the bars don't all open in unison. So they obviously haven't included that action yet, since this is an early version of the executable. Ah, the shotgunner isn't stuck in the barrel, since this is before they fucked up the thing placement in one of the 1.7 or 1.8 or whatever. And then 1.9 they had to fix it and didn't fully fix it. There's an element of satisfaction of this old super shotgun, but it's a little bit slow, and the final version is definitely better. But I do like it. I do like it. See, there's a Hell Knight on map 2. It kind of makes me think that Doom 2 was originally going to be like what the Japanese Mario 2 is, like a super hard version. At least for the time. But then Final Doom is where they ended up really doing that. totally different. I really like it. It's got kind of a E2, E3, maybe slightly-ish vibe. It's cool. And that well there, oh god. An Archie already. Oh, and there's the mini masterminds. They're not Arachnotrons really yet. They're little chain gun shooting masterminds. Oh god. Normally that would crash the engine, but I patched it to add in the missing frames. Oh god, the Archie has seen me. Yeah, those teleport sprites. He uses the former human sounds, as you can hear. Oh, and he has the ability to resurrect these guys, so I don't want him to get there. Oh no, I gotta take him down. Yes, got him. I kinda like the mini masterminds. It'd be cool if there was like a variant of those. That could make for a cool one in a mod. You don't have to strafe run into that well anymore either. There's actually a button that somehow gets you there. I can't remember. We'll find out in a minute. Oh man, dang, I am down on my resources. Ooh, plasma gun, awesome. Blue skull. See, this is cool. I guess it has a less unified theme, you could say, but I really like this texturing scheme. It's interesting. And I really like the Doom. I mean, I don't dislike the Doom 2 music. I think it's pretty cool overall, but I love the Doom 1 music. So replaying these maps, it's cool that they used it as the placeholder. Open that. Yeah, that teleport there. Look at that. It takes you directly to the well. You don't have to strafe run. I mean, you can if you want to, of course. But you don't have to, which I think is awesome. That secret was really tough for me. I didn't know about strafe running as a kid, so that secret just perplexed me. And I also didn't know the ID clip code. I only knew IDSPISPOPD. So I didn't see what was in that well until a couple of years after I first played. Holy shit, man, look what they're throwing at me. But I already got the BFG. See, look at this. I'm in map 3, and I have every gun. So people sometimes complain that I think by map 8 or 9 you can already have every gun. Well, in this version, it's map 3. So they actually improved the balance a lot. This is cool just for the sake of variety, you know, playing a slightly different take on maps I'm familiar with. Ah, map 4 is the Catacombs. An early version of Catacombs with no Spectre in there. And shotgunners rather than chain gunners. Shot his dead body through the teleporter. Ooh. Oops, let me grab both of those. That's where I came from. There it is. This map is pretty much complete. It has less tough enemies than the final version. Which is ironic, because in the last map they were throwing freaking Archies and shit at me. Oh god. They got a couple good shots on me. macaroni down here. Go out through the secret exit. Oh yeah, the two goons blocked by the block map bug. It's shotgunners instead of chain gunners in this version. Splat. Oh man, we're cutting through this. Doom 2 beta version's fun, man. They had already had a fun game 2 months before release, but it's not complete yet. A couple maps you can't exit, and a couple maps are just the first room. It's mostly done now. I always love this room. You just go crazy on all these dudes. Unloading the chain gun. Oh. Lost souls. They never fixed those guys. They stayed stuck together all the way through 1.9. Goodbye. You asshole. Our little Baron screaming Hell Knight buddy is stuck with the imp there. Sayonara, friend. Goodbye. Pain Elemental making cacodemon sound. Oh my god! Alright, I'm just gonna bail. See you later, freak. Map 6 looking very different. Oh, we got a weird little poorly textured thing there. And I remember the most annoying thing about this version of the map. The crusher ain't a crusher anymore. At least no way I could figure out to get it to crush. The button that usually crushes him just calls the lift. So yeah, don't bother with that. Take that, Mastermind. I'm guessing this was like a hiding spot from him. That blue key. This room is even darker in this beta version. Oh my god! There's no flashing lights. And there's a BFG. Cool. Needed those cells. I'm just gonna leave those guys to their own folly. That must have activated when I picked up the blue key. Oh, this room is fire. It's weirdly shaped, but down into the dark. It's funny, it's like the same map, just strewn about over slightly different locations. No Revenant trap in this one. And there's no little secret window to jump to there. It's a lot brighter too. Making this room darker was a good decision. Bitches, get the fuck off. Damn, I forgot about those guys. Just ran right in. Wasn't paying attention. That's what happens when you look away and stop paying attention. Baron. Oh, took me down. Alright, let's skip ahead to map 7. The original Dead Simple is simple, but my goodness, this is some 1994, quite literally. You can see why they changed this one. And lowering that let out all these mini masterminds. Oh, and they're pelting me with bullets. Just wonderful. But they're easy to make them infight. Look at that. All killing each other. Ah. They come out of these little ugly rooms to drop goodies. Look at this, you didn't even have to do any work. You're doing it all for me. Killing each other. There we go. This map, there's no way to end. Obviously, there was some sort of difference back then that made it that would have had some sort of change that let it exit. That's not in there now. So skip ahead to map 8. The good old Baron fight's already in place. They knew what they wanted with this stage very early on. Uh-oh, you guys aren't supposed to come in here. Alright, I'm gonna have to cut this short. Sorry, fellas. Sorry to cut our little exchange short. Get the hell out of my way. You know what I'm trying to do here? I got things to do, places to be. I'll see you suckers later on. Get out of my face, demon. Get out of my face. Yeah. It's almost totally done. Oh, that door looks different. Just go ahead and let those guys do their own thing. They're not bothering anyone, so I won't bother them. Oh god. Well, there's map 9. It's mostly done. Map 10 crashes the game, and just for the sake of curiosity, check it out. This is the Living End, very early version of the Living End, and it's totally incomplete. Look at that. See the empty platform there? This is just a real early version. So early, in fact, that it's not even hardly started yet. No teleport there, no nothing there. It's almost over. And obviously there's a lot of maps that are totally incomplete in that version. So there's my little look at the Doom 2 beta versions. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please consider subscribing, and hopefully I'll see you again soon. Thanks for watching.